guys. So it's been a minute. I think it's been 2 months since my last video. This is try number 4 for this one. Hopefully I can get this one done. The first one I recorded all the way through downstairs and I didn't like it. I looked like a talking head, and hopefully I look less like a talking head this time. We shall see. I also noticed in the third one that I did that I said and way too much, and I spoke too fast. So we're gonna slow it down. We're gonna think through our thoughts before we speak. We're gonna do a good job on this one. That's the royal we, by the way, because ain't nothing but me here. So I always think of myself as being a slow knitter, but I don't think that's true, because in the last 2 months I got a lot of stuff done. You're here for the knitting, so that's what we're going to talk about. So I'm not really one to just buy yarn just to have. I'm not a stash builder. My yarn stash is actually very, very small. I typically buy enough yarn, and I've said this before, I buy enough yarn to do a project and maybe a little extra so I don't have to play yarn chicken. But I don't typically just buy yarn just to buy yarn. However, recently I have done that, and it has a lot to do with Instagram, thank you. Seeing yarns on Instagram that I just feel like I just need in my life. So I do prefer pink. I'm a pink fan. I love all colors, but the pink, just when I see pink in an Instagram picture, I'm just like drawn into it. You got me, because it's pink and it's yarn and it's gorgeous. So I did buy a couple skeins of Honeycrisp from Yarn Cafe Creations. This is the biscotti sock base, which is merino and nylon. I think it's 80-20. It is 85-15 superwash merino and nylon. 4-ply fingering weight, 437 yards to 100 grams. I usually buy her yarns, her fingering weight yarn, to make socks, but the Honeycrisp is like my total favorite. I think of every yarn on the planet, this is my favorite color. It has a close second, which you'll see in a second. But they're just beautiful. They're kind of getting blown out a little bit. They're a speckled yarn, and they're pink with shots of like a mustard color in there, and little brown, little purple speckles, some deep rose color. It's just a really beautiful yarn, and I'm not sure what it's going to be yet. Typically I buy with a project in mind. I don't know what this is going to be yet, so we shall see. That's actually going to be building my stash. And I bought some Hue Loco, and I think this is actually coming out kind of okay. You're kind of seeing the different ways that it looks in the skein. I got 3 skeins of this one. This is going to be a garment. I feel like this one might be, I don't know. It's going to be a garment for me. I don't know what it'll be yet. But these are on her merino sock. It is a fingering weight yarn. It's merino sock, and it's 80-20 superwash merino nylon. 400 yards for 100 grams. And the color is Juicy. This yarn, when I saw this yarn, actually, I think I saw it on the Grocery Girls podcast the first time, and then I've seen Nicole put it on her Instagram. I actually live within like 15 miles of Nicole, so I'm able to go to her shop, but with COVID, I'm shopping at home. This I could see maybe paired with a cream color, perhaps, to do either some kind of striping, maybe a little bit bigger stripe, or some kind of maybe color work. I'm not really sure. Merino superwash wool doesn't really do well with color work because it's not sticky enough. But I don't know. I'm kind of working on this one in my head. I don't know what it's going to be yet. We shall see, but I loved it so much I had to have it. So I have 3 skeins of this. They'll go into my stash. I say I'm not a stash builder, right? But they're going into my stash. This is my spare room slash craft room slash office. My desk is over there. That's where I do like my Zoom meetings. That's where actually my desk that I work at every single day. But my Zoom meetings happen there too. Okay, so let's talk about the knitting. Let's see. Since the last time we talked, trying to remember what I was working on. I'm pretty sure I was working on my Relish shawl at the time, and it has turned out beautifully. Can you see that? It is so soft. I wish I could remember what yarn I used. I am so bad with Ravelry and putting things on Ravelry. I'll see if I can remember what yarn it is. I'll put it in I know I put it in my Instagram, so I'll be able to figure it out. And in the bottom, I'll put a description of the yarn that I used. But this is a shawlette, I guess you would call it, somewhat a scarf. It is, I love it. I had to block the crap out of it because, you know, it's V's, and my V's came out like stick figure seagulls. You know when you're a little kid and you draw birds and you draw them like this? That's kind of how it turned out. So I had to block the crap out of it to try and get them to be V's. I don't know if I'm not really sure what causes that, but I do love it. It's super, super soft. It's just, honestly, for me, this is just the right size because I can't do a lot of fabric right here. I don't like it's in my face, and this is just the right size. It's perfect. I absolutely love it. You can see, I mean, it's a great color. You can wear it. I wear a lot of gray and black, and you can see it goes great with the gray and black. So I'll just leave it on. So that's done. And let's see, I do have some socks done. I did get these socks finished. I showed these last time. They were still, I think, on the needles. These socks are done. Again, I actually can't remember what yarn this is, and somebody asked me on Instagram and I don't remember, and I didn't put it on Ravelry, and darn it, every single time I posted it on Instagram, I forgot to tag the yarn dyer. Shame on me. But it is beautiful. It's kind of a grayish lilac, and it's got these nice deep plum heels and toes. And I did a little, oh, this one I didn't do it at the top. Heels and toes. And they're 3x1 rib because I like that. That fits me the best. I'm a processed knitter, as I've mentioned, and so I'm not all into lace and all that nonsense. Typically when it comes to a sock, I don't want it to bunch up around my ankles. I want it to fit. And this sock, I know reliably holds snugly, not snugly, but it hugs your leg and your foot. My husband loves this type of sock, and I do too, so they're most comfortable for me. So I consistently do the 3x1 rib. And so I got these done. They might end up being a gift. I made them in a size 8, which is my size, so I don't know if they will be a gift for somebody this holiday. 8's a pretty standard women's size, or if I'll keep them. I do block all of my socks all the time. So I wash them in the washing machine. These have not been worn yet. I wash them in the washing machine, and then I have several sock blockers, just the plain wire ones, and I hang them up to dry every single time. And so every single time I wash my socks, they come out like this, beautiful. I mean, they always look really, really nice because I take care of them. So those are done. They might be a gift for somebody, I don't know. I'm starting to amass socks. You saw these before. Also never worn, also blocked, ready to go, size 8. I don't know what I'm going to do with them yet. They might end up in my drawer. They might end up as a gift. I don't really know. But, so, since the last time we talked, we went on vacation. We went to Montana, Whitefish, Montana area, and had 2-week vacation, and while we were gone, my daughter and son-in-law and grandson, that was when they were moving out of state, which is a sad day for us, but they're near my son-in-law's family, so they've got a support system, which makes my grandma heart feel good and my mom heart feel good. But while we were on vacation, which by the way, Whitefish, Montana is gorgeous. However, the wildfire smoke from California, Oregon, and Washington had blown in the day we arrived, and it literally was like fog. You couldn't see the mountains at all the entire time we were there. So I didn't get to see a whole lot of it. We'll have to go back again, but it was what I could see. It was quite beautiful. I'm very lucky to also live in a mountainous area, and it's also quite beautiful where I live, but it was nice because I was going someplace different. So it was really nice in Montana. And when we were there, my souvenir that I brought back was yarn. I went into the polka dot sheep yarn shop in Whitefish and fell in love with all of her yarn. Her aesthetic is my aesthetic. It is beautiful. All of her colors and her bases are just beautiful. Her staff are amazing. The owner was in the back of the shop dyeing yarn, so I did not get to meet her. I should have taken some video of my visit to her shop because it's really cute. Actually, it's really cute. It's a house that's converted into a shop, and then upstairs they have 2 Airbnb units up there, so you could stay right above a yarn shop if you wanted, which I didn't know, or else I might have booked it. Anyway, so my souvenir from my time in Whitefish was yarn, and I chose her fingering weight because I know I wanted to cast on a pair of socks, which I did on my vacation, and I got this yarn. This is Cabin. Excuse me. This is Cabin, and it comes out a little harsher in the camera, I think, than it looks in real life. I have a ring light on here, and it tends to make things, very well lit. But to the naked eye, this is a little slightly softer, not quite as harsh of a stripe. But it is indeed, obviously, it's not self-striping, it's just hand-dyed yarn, and it does this, just like this pair. So, not self-striping, but they, because of the way it's dyed, they somewhat stripe. This is clearly self-striping yarn. I did not put all those stripes in there. That's self-striping yarn. So, this is just a hand-dyed yarn, and this is the way the color pools, basically, and it pools almost in a stripe. So this is Cabin, and then the color that I fell in love with, probably now my favorite color yarn, anywhere, anytime, any planet, is now this one. That is called Melisandre, and obviously this is fingering weight yarn. It is a deep, gorgeous ruby red, more to the blue side than the brown side, and truly, when my eyes went to it in the shop, my eyes could not go away from it, and I searched for colors that would coordinate with it so that I could buy it, because I knew I had to have it. And Cabin I thought was perfect because I was on vacation staying in Montana, so Cabin just seemed kind of right. So Cabin was the one I picked, and it goes perfectly, doesn't it? Did a little bit of a stripe at the top, which I don't usually do, but that was kind of fun. Then I have my heel, and then my toes, and I have 2 full skeins, so I have enough to make the reverse. So I'll make another pair of socks in Melisandre, and then I'll have the heels and toes will be Cabin. That'll be kind of fun. So those are done. Don't know if they're going to be mine. Don't know if they're going to be somebody else's. I kind of have been waiting until the holidays to see what I might need. And once the holidays are over, then I'll know whether these are my socks or somebody else's socks. So I got some socks done, and I'm super excited because I've never made this type of garment accessory ever in my life before. And I love them. Ever since I was a little kid, I've loved them. Tracy Miller of the Grocery Girls makes lots of them. She designs them, and I've always wanted to make a pair, and I finally did. So these are Lamb's Pride Bulky. Lamb's Pride Bulky. These are mittens, obviously. My theory is that your hands stay warmer when your fingers are together, and my thumbs always get cold. I always end up pulling my thumbs inside my mittens. But my theory is your hands stay warmer when your fingers are all together. So this is my first pair of mittens. I definitely see myself making quite a few more pairs of mittens. I love them. I have some more of this yarn, and they're not itchy at all. Even though it's Lamb's Pride Bulky, which tends to be a bit itchy, they're on my hands, they're not itchy at all. So I might try, I'm going to stop. I might try some different patterns because I feel like the thumb feels low, and I feel like I'm kind of shoving my thumb in there, and I don't know if it's because it's low down on here, or do I need to make this part longer so it doesn't feel like that. The thumb feels like it needs to be a little bit wider. So I'm going to try some different patterns. I knit them up literally in like a day. I think I made these within like a week. In a weekend I made a pair of mittens. So I'm going to make some more, and I've got some other colors that I can use of Lamb's Pride Bulky that I just happen to have in my yarn stash that I bought for something I ended up not needing. So I might, just for practice, make a couple more pair. One pair is going to be orange and one pair is going to be like bright yellow. That's alright. You can have like so many pair of mittens, it doesn't matter. And maybe they'll end up as gifts, who knows. But I want to try some different patterns for bulky mittens. But I'm super happy with these. These I know I'll definitely wear a lot this winter. So I made those. And back on the sock vein, I decided to try. I usually use a size 1 needle when I make socks, and my husband is like, I would like some socks that were just like a little bit finer gauge, and he loves the socks that I make on the size 1, but like they're hard to wear in like dress shoes. He can wear them in his Keens, he can wear them in his boots, something like that, but wearing them with sneakers or with dress shoes or something like that, he just can't really do. And he loves my hand knit wool socks. So I'm trying out my next socks on some size 00. So I've gotten this far. I do 2 at a time. And because I've been working on, you'll see in a second, there's another project that's kind of been taking up my time. Haven't done much on my socks. Socks, I usually keep as a project, just like constantly going. I always have a pair of socks on the needles, usually sitting by my chair in the living room. Or it's the projects that I take, like when I'm going, I know I'm going to be like, in a waiting room, or I'm going to be spending time somewhere just like sitting around or whatever, and I will take my sock project with me because I don't have to really think about them too much until I get to the heel. Obviously, I do a German short row heel, and even those are pretty simple, but I usually take, that's like my project that I take. It's like waiting room project or standing in line project, or which you don't do much of these days with COVID, but it's a good project just to keep handy all the time because it's mindless knitting for me. So I'm going to try knitting on a 00. We'll see how that goes. I feel like it's going to take a while, but we'll see how that goes. That's another project. And lastly, do you remember my last episode? I talked about the breathing space sweater from Vera Valimaki and how unhappy I was with how it turned out. I decided to frog it all the way back to where you split, actually where you're coming back together for the from the armholes, and decided to go down a size when I came back together. I did a lot of research. I looked online in Ravelry at what everybody else, what their experience had been with it. Vera Valimaki is a pretty amazing designer, and I felt like it's not that it was a poorly written pattern. I don't know if it's an English translation issue or if it's just, maybe it is the pattern, I don't know. I was not super happy with it because of this problem that I had, And it's a problem that after going on Ravelry, I discovered most women had when they made it. Most women were either they didn't say they were unhappy with it, or they definitely said they're unhappy with it, and several people actually frogged it and tried again. There's a little bit of an issue when it comes to the increases that happen. I think the idea is that it's meant to be an A-line, but in the pictures of Vera is a slender, beautiful young woman. Hers fits straight to her body. It maybe flares a little bit at her hips, but it's definitely not an A-line in the pictures, and that's not what my impression was when I bought the pattern. So when I made the pattern the first time in the size that is normally my size, and I get gauge, and I looked at the measurements online of the finished product, and it was so big it was a potato sack, and I hated it, and I knew I'd never wear it. It sat for a super long time just in the bag, and finally I was decided, you know what, I'm just going to frog it. And I thought, well, wait a minute, I'll frog it to, right at the underarm, because this part felt okay. And I'm going to go down a size when I frog it, and I'm coming back together to make the body of the sweater all in the round. I'm going to go down a size, and I also opted not to do the increases, and I don't honestly understand the increases. So you have increases that go every 8th row, I believe, down one side of the sweater. I think it's the short side of the sweater, because it is a asymmetrical hem, and it's created by the short rows at the top. So it gives you that kind of angle, and it creates an asymmetrical hem. So it's like this around your waist and hips. And so on the short side, that's where you're supposed to do an increase every eighth row, I believe. And then on the long side, you do your waist shaping. So you have decreases, and then you're supposed to go to increases for your hips. I knew after making it the first time, I wanted increases. No way, no how, nowhere. So I did not do any increases on this side. I did the decreases on this side, and I think I might have added an extra set of decreases. So instead of doing 5 decrease repeats, I did 6 decrease repeats, I think. And then I did not do the increases further down. So I wanted more of a straight sweater. I did not like, when I saw all the finished ones, they looked like mine. And so under the arm here, it kind of goes nice and straight. You see, it kind of goes out a little bit. I got so much stuff here. It kind of goes out a little bit right here. That's where you start, just the stripes are just going in the round. That's the end of the short rows. So right here it has a little bit of a pooch out, but not too much, not like it did before. Before it was like out to here, like it was this far out. So it's got a little bit of a pooch out, which is fine, but then it mostly goes straight. I am much happier with this. I am glad I made this modification. I am not even after 20 plus years of knitting, I'm not super skilled at some big modifications. Some people really are very good at construction and can do some really, pretty serious modifications. I just knew I didn't want those increases. And I knew I needed to decrease the volume of fabric around the body. Excuse me. So I opted to make those changes. So right now I am on the hem. You can see it's a twisted rib hem for 1.5 inches. I got about 3/4 of an inch done. And this is on size 6 needles. And I hope to be finished the hem this evening, and then to be able to start on the sleeves. The other thing is the sleeve, I had made one sleeve, and the sleeve was like hanging, like it was huge. And that was at the point where I went, I hate the sweater. I'll never wear it. I hate the sweater. And I knit to gauge. I knit the right size for me, and I hated it. So the top is an XL because I need a little extra room up here. And then I went down to a large for the body part, and I didn't do any of the increases that it calls for. So it probably fits a little bit more like a medium. Close. Probably fits a little more close to how the medium probably fits. I was a little worried about going from extra large to medium, like in the body part. I was afraid like it would be too noticeable. So I just didn't do those increases. So the sleeve, I actually might make a medium sleeve and just ease it in. It's 80 stitches. I think it's 80 stitches for the armhole. And I know it's significantly less for the medium, but I think I'll just ease it in and see how it goes. And yeah, so we'll see how that goes. And when I have the sleeves done, I'll show it to you. Hopefully we'll have another podcast going here hopefully in a couple weeks. I'm hoping before the holidays to do one more. Today is the 21st of November, 2020. So it's just before Thanksgiving. And yeah, so let's talk real quickly about the next projects that I want to do, and then we'll call it a deal. We're almost at a half hour. I want to make some hats, mittens, and sweaters for my grandson for Christmas. I'm not sure how many I'll get done between now and then, but at least one of each to be able to send him for Christmas. And I do have those yarns from Hue Loco that I feel like I want to make a garment out of, so I gotta figure out what I want to make with that. I will get that figured out too, and maybe at least I'll have an idea in my head as to what I want to knit with it next time we're together. And yeah, I think that's it. Oh, I didn't show you. I can't remember if I showed this last time, but real quick I'll show you. Hey, look at that. It's dusty pink. It's not an ugly color. It's actually dusty pink. This is the last batch of yarn that I dyed with the avocados, and this time it actually turned out pretty well. So I am going to try it one more time with the avocados. I'm going to do all pits. I have been amassing avocado pits for a couple weeks now. I think I probably have like 15 of them, but I'm going to try one more time and see what color I get next. I'm happy with this one. I think the other yarn that's already actually caked, I can't really over dye it because it's caked. I might end up donating it. I don't really know. I have 3 skeins of it, but I don't really want to do anything with it because it's, as far as I'm concerned, it's not a very attractive color. This, however, I'm pleased with. So this one will, and it didn't get slightly felted like the other one did. This is very soft. Non-superwash wool and nylon, 80/20. Non-superwash. So I'll make something with that. I'm not sure yet. And I do want to try one more time dyeing with just the pits to see what color I get. I understand the color's a little richer with the pits and no skins. So we'll see. It's kind of my little experiment in natural dyeing, and I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time with it. So maybe by the time I record next, I'll have those done. Maybe another 2 skeins of that. I'm not sure. Anyway, so yeah, I think we'll call that a deal. I probably didn't mention about the chickens. I'll pop in some video of the semi-annual coop cleaning that I did for the chickens. Right now, all 13 of them are molting, so I haven't had a single egg in about a month from them. Hopefully they're towards the end of their molt and we'll get some eggs soon, but I'll pop in some video of what's been going on with the chickens too. And yeah, so hopefully you have a really nice Thanksgiving with your family, and hopefully I see you again before Christmas. Normally I'd wear an N95 mask to do this job. Get this coop cleaned out, but you can't get any N95 masks right now, so we just gotta do what we just gotta do. This is our way.